If you were the only person left in the entire world, how would you move? Would you even move at all? How would you feel? When I was asked that by my dance teacher, a calm washed over me. With no one there to judge, perceive, or appreciate my movement, I would be moving and dancing and living for myself. There would be no pressure to move, not move. Truly, there would be no right answer. And in today's world where there always seems to be a better, the okay and the mistakes are abandoned to the wayside. So, in that class, my answer, my freestyle to that prompt, went a little something like this. And I stayed there for 2 minutes. And that moment was beautiful. I'm going to tell you why. So you see, freestyle dancing, or improvisation, is a foundational aspect of hip-hop dance. It's where you dance to a song without any choreography or premeditated movement. It's movement without preparation. I've always been terrified of it. The thought of going into a dance circle and not knowing what you're going to do was extremely intimidating. It's like coming up to give a presentation in front of your class without any preparation beforehand. And no matter how many high fives and cheers there are for us, we then can become our own worst critics. And you know what's worse? When you then compare yourself with others. You see, freestyling is movement without preparation. It is the physical embodiment of spontaneity, our natural movement. And if we believe that our natural tendency to do something is worse than somebody else's, we are then not only disparaging our movement, but also ourselves and our being. But we can flip the script. You see, many times this fear of freestyling stems from a preconceived notion of what a good freestyle looks like. It has to have this, has to have that, has to have cool grooves and bouncing, and a crazy tiding combo. But whoever said freestyling had to be that way? My teacher starts class with these 4 agreements. Raise your hand if you believe that this is a safe space. Raise your hand if you believe that any movement is appropriate and worthy. Raise your hand if you believe to support yourself in this space as well as those around you. And finally, raise your hand if you believe that you all have a genius inside of you. By asking these questions and committing us to these agreements, he broke the biggest barriers we held against freestyling, our assumptions. For the rest of class, as we continued to move, those assumptions began to break away, forming a little more than a figment of our imagination. We were free to crump, tick, hit, and move past any notion of what was better or worse. A strobing combo was equally as great as a simple step or an emotional grasp. And that night, I took away more than just a release and relaxation in a dance class. For while our past experiences and notions can serve us, embracing the thrill of the spontaneity of the moment revitalized senses of playfulness and excitement. Outside of dance, outside of art, and its soulful expression, the more logical and mundane moments of life still carry that twinge of spontaneity and artistic vulnerability. In the classroom, when a teacher asks in answer to a question, the tension and silence before anyone raises their hands is palpable. What if my answer is wrong? What will others think of me? It's easy to stay in the comfort of the majority and become our own worst critics, waiting for someone else to raise their hand so that we don't have to. But when you embrace the spontaneity of the moment, raise your hand, welcome the unknown, and share your answer, you'll realize that any fears of rejection or embarrassment will have been exceeded by the empowerment of believing in yourself and accepting that any answer is appropriate and worthy. Outside the classroom, in something as low stakes as a commute or a chore, it can be comforting to stick to the certainty of that habit. But when you follow your natural curiosity, you open up an entire world of thrill that you wouldn't have encountered if you just stuck to the usual routine. And I've continued to strive for this thrill in my own life. So, Young Arts, the National Foundation for the Advancement of Artists, is an American charity that holds an annual youth competition calling youth artists across the country to submit creative works across 10 artistic disciplines, ranging from film all the way to dance. And each year, 150 artists are selected as winners, called Winners with Distinction. And they're flown on an all-expense paid trip to Miami, Florida, for the National Young Arts Week, where they perform their work to the public. And in 11th grade, I was chosen as a winner with distinction in hip-hop dance. During my National Young Arts Week, I rigorously trained to perform my solo for the public. I'd spent the past 2 months choreographing this killer Kendrick Lamar solo, and I was so excited for the public to see it. But then, on the morning of my performance, I made an impromptu, vulnerable decision to change the song to a slow, emotional, lapsy song instead. That's me on stage. And as I danced to this last-minute song, I chose the uncertainty of freestyle over the certainty of choreography. That night, moving on across the stage, my emotions and self-belief touched the audience. I learned that embracing the raw, uncertain moments can foster connection more than any certainty in planning, preparation, or choreography. So, next time when you give a classroom presentation, you pull from your effort to see what you want to convey to the audience. When you get stuck on a problem during an exam, you search through your knowledge to see what could work. And when you try a new task, you engage in a mindset of play to see if your passions spark. And as we move through life, we can continue to embrace our whole selves without worrying about any external opinions. Because just as the 4 agreements mentioned, we are all geniuses, each no better or worse than the next. And just like that freestyle, the next time you want to try a new haircut, take that long route home, or chat with that stranger on the bus ride to school, take a deep breath and lean into the unknown, believing that any movement, thought, or act is appropriate and worthy. Thank you.